Sister Wives Kody Brown reveals number one desire at 55. Undoubtedly, Sister Wives patriarch Kody Brown has experienced a lot in the past few seasons. While his actions have caused reactions in his plural family, like 3 wives leaving him, he is paying the price. Now he is facing self-reflection as he turns 55 years old. Recently, he revealed his number one desire moving forward. Kody Brown is living with his demons. During Sister Wives Season 19, Kody Brown has hit rock bottom in many ways. Although he struggles to take accountability for his actions, years of not listening have caught up with him. While Mary Brown forced the issue of requesting a release, she knew it would humiliate him to live with the church knowing he couldn't keep his wives. Likewise, both Cristin and Janelle Brown have discussed how rough it must be for Kody to face losing 3 wives in less than 2 years. Furthermore, his one remaining wife, Robin Brown, is second-guessing her marriage to Kody as he processes the anger and grief from their failed plural marriage. But Kody has lashed out and spewed hatred over his former wives leaving. He has expressed wishing he would have never married them to begin with. Likewise, many of his relationships with his children have suffered after witnessing the fallout with their mothers. But does wisdom come with age? Kody Brown reveals number one desire at 55. While Kody Brown's life took an unexpected turn for him over the past few years, many believe he has been traveling through a midlife crisis since signing on with TLC. But in the November 3 episode of Sister Wives, he pledges to turn a new leaf. Reflecting on his life at that point on his birthday, he says, "Today is my 55th birthday and I have, with God in covenant form, reasserted myself to, from here on out, be the loving father and the dad that has always given me purpose in my life." Furthermore, committing to working on his relationships, he adds, "onward and upward with the goals in life and making my family whole again." Undoubtedly, his number one aspiration is to find reconciliation with his kids. He adds, "That's my desire." He wants a big family even without plural marriage. Additionally, Kody Brown confesses, "I was so naive coming into plural marriage, I guess idealistic, that I think I saw myself sort of surrounded by children and surrounded by wives." Seemingly a broken man after 3 wives left and many of his children are estranged, he admits his dream has crumbled. He adds, "I literally imagined that my 5 to 6 oldest would be living across the street in homes with their spouses." Then he stopped to cover his mouth as his eyes welled up with tears, reiterating, this is literally what I imagined." Robin and Kody Brown have similar stolen dreams. Much like Robin Brown's stolen dream of sitting on the porch alongside her sister wives, Kody Brown was grieving the life he always pictured. He says, "That fantasy all came out of the affection I felt for my children." While he admits to regretting his marriages to Mary, Janelle, and Cristin Brown, he still desires a connection with his family. He adds, "To me, it wasn't a plural family thing, it was just an enjoying my family thing." He has his work cut out for him. While Sister Wives patriarch Kody Brown expresses his desire to reconcile with his estranged kids, he has his work cut out for him. He acknowledges, "I'm hoping that they will not reject this, as some of them won't even talk to me. But my new goal will be back to being dad." Likewise, Robin Brown seems to want Kody to repair his relationships. She says, "I remember the guy that I met, the guy who I saw loving his kids." Then, she adds, "And I feel like he's struggling with that right now because he's so hurt." However, she is holding out hope for him to regain his sense of self, but it's not who he is. As Kody Brown approached his 55th birthday, he was no longer the confident, fiery polygamist viewers had watched for over a decade on Sister Wives. The family that once symbolized unity through diversity had splintered, leaving Kody with more questions than answers. The man who had once juggled 4 marriages and 18 children now stood on uncertain ground. Only one question loomed large in his mind. What did he truly want? Kody's spiritual journey had always been an anchor in his life, but after years of heartbreak, confrontations, and lost connections, he found himself yearning for something beyond religion, family, or fame. It wasn't material wealth, another mansion, or even new relationships. He had experienced all that. This time, Kody's desire was simpler, but no less challenging. He wanted peace. For Kody, peace meant more than just silence. It meant freedom from the resentment, unresolved conflicts, and deep-rooted tension that had come to define his relationships. Peace to him was no longer an abstract concept, but a necessity for survival. Every day, he felt the burden of years spent navigating the emotional needs of his wives and children, often without the fulfillment he had hoped for. As he walked through the quiet, sprawling hills of his Flagstaff property, Kody felt the weight of the years settle over him. The land with its majestic trees and rugged terrain symbolized the battles he fought, not just within his family, but also within himself. He knew now that his once unshakable belief in plural marriage was not as steadfast as it once was. The unraveling of his family had exposed wounds he hadn't anticipated, leaving him feeling stripped bare, facing an uncertain future. He reflected on Cristin, the first wife who had dared to leave. Cristin had always been his fun wife, the one who brought joy and laughter to his life. When she announced she was leaving, Kody had been stunned. He tried to rationalize her departure, telling himself she simply didn't understand the commitment they'd all signed up for. But deep down, he knew it was more complicated. Cristin had found a happiness he couldn't provide, and he had been powerless to stop her from seeking it elsewhere. The same went for Janelle, who, though more reserved, had made her position clear. She was done sacrificing herself on the altar of Kody's dream. He admired her strength but resented the chasm that had grown between them. Then there was Mary, his first love, who had clung to the hope that things could be mended, even as he'd long since given up. Finally, there was Robin, his last remaining wife and the one who bore the brunt of the turmoil left in the wake of the others' departures. In a moment of rare vulnerability, Kody admitted to himself that his own desire for control and validation had driven many of his family members away. He had always believed he could handle the complex dynamics of plural marriage, that he could be a leader and protector to each of his wives. But now he questioned whether his desire to be seen as a patriarch had blinded him to their individual needs. For the first time in decades, Kody allowed himself to consider the possibility of living a quieter, simpler life. He imagined what it would be like to exist outside the spotlight, away from the constant pressure of proving himself as the head of a sprawling, unconventional family. Kody wondered if he could find peace by shedding the roles he had once held so tightly. What if he let go of the idea that he had to be the savior, the guide, the ultimate authority? What if he simply let himself be Kody? As the days passed, he began spending more time alone, away from the cameras and the expectations of those around him. He started meditating in the mornings, taking deep breaths and letting his mind drift. For once, he wasn't focused on resolving conflicts or strategizing his next move. He was simply existing in the moment, feeling the earth beneath him, the wind on his face, and the stillness of the world around him. One day, he decided to reach out to Cristin, not to rekindle their relationship, but to seek closure. He needed to understand her perspective, not as a husband who felt betrayed, but as a man seeking peace. He asked her what she had found on the other side of their marriage, what had led her to leave, and what he might have done differently. Cristin, surprised by his humility, shared her journey with him. She spoke of finding her voice, of realizing that her happiness mattered. She told him that leaving had been the hardest decision of her life, but that it was necessary for her to thrive. She wished him well, hoping he could find his own version of freedom. Their conversation was cathartic for Kody. He hadn't expected to feel a sense of closure, but he did. He finally understood that Cristin's decision had not been a reflection of his failures, but a testament to her courage.